In life, we all encounter obstacles, and those obstacles come in all different shapes, sizes, and forms. The question is, how do we handle those obstacles? Do we attack them head on, or do we allow them to make us quit? Welcome to the No Quit Living podcast, where we aim to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up on themselves, their dreams, or their goals. We will interview successful people from all walks of life as they share their no-quit stories when they had the choice to give up or give in, but they didn't. We thank you for listening, and we hope to be that jolt of positivity as you go for your greatness. Welcome to episode number 116 of the No Quit Living podcast. I'm your host, Christopher J. Worth, and today's theme of the day is gratitude. Our quote of the day comes to us from Karl Barth. Joy is the simplest form of gratitude. It is my pleasure to bring you today's episode. Our guest, Jessica Zweig, is quite an impressive woman. Whether she is helping others with their brands, consulting, or working on her company, SimplyBe, she does it all with an attitude of gratitude. In addition to her personal story, Jessica shares some great stuff to help us think about how we approach both our professional lives as well as our personal lives. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Jessica, I'd like to welcome you to the No Quit Living podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's an honor to be here.
I appreciate it. So the first question we ask everybody is, are you ready to bring it today?
I'm always ready to bring it, Chris. We just got to know each other, but I know this is going to be good. I'm going to bring it.
Good answer. I appreciate it. So the number one objective of our show is to motivate and inspire listeners to never give up. I was curious if you had either a personal story of perseverance or perhaps a challenging time that tested you and you could have given up or given in, but you didn't.
Absolutely. I think those are the moments that really truly make us entrepreneurs. I think if you don't have an experience like that, you're not risking hard enough, right? Failure is inevitable when you really go for it. And I would say a turning point in my life when I would totally hit rock bottom and I could quit. I was running a very popular women's magazine in Chicago for about 7 years. Everyone knew my name. I felt on top of the world. Everywhere I went, people were like, oh, it's Cheeky Jessica. And we had this huge following and all these brands were working for us. And internally, it was a very different story. And I was broke. We just had a very inconsistent revenue model. We had too much overhead. We were, just not really managing our money, right? And I was like 32 at the time. And I had to drive home one day to my parents' house in the suburbs to ask my dad to help me pay my phone bill because I didn't have $200 to pay my phone bill and I needed my phone. I needed my phone more than I needed food because I was running a digital company. And the shame and the, just embarrassment and that like low point was I could have totally just been like, F this. I can't do entrepreneurship. Like I have to survive. I have to, pay my bills. And instead I really utilized that as a, catapult, like as a moment where I was like, you can go one way or you can go the other way. You can let this beat you down and define you, or you can keep going and change. And that's what I did. And that was a couple of years ago. And it's, obviously a daily micro actions. I, invested a lot of time, energy, and resources in really like getting closer to my truth, knowing that money does not define you, but it, it does help fuel you. And I'm in a very different place right now. And I respect and appreciate the way that, revenue comes in and out, and have just built my business so much differently, this second company that I'm running now. But I don't think I would have, it's made me who I am. I would not have taken that moment away as much as it sucked, like going home and asking your father for money at 32. But I'm grateful that was a wake up call and really shifted the course of my career.
It's interesting. I think so many people that are successful in all walks of life have a moment, or many of us have many moments, and it's not just for it's not just for entrepreneurs. It's people, sports, entertainment, and I think it's just so interesting when you take that moment. And as the question I asked is, you could either give up or give in, and clearly you didn't. So, if you wouldn't mind me asking, is what catapulted you after that, when you went to ask your father? Was it a change in business? Was it a change in mindset? Or what got you to the amazingly successful level you're at today?
It was a great question. A mixture of a bunch of things. It was really a total shift in perspective. Like I had identified so much of my self-worth into money and to my ego. And I had to completely reverse engineer the way I thought about what really fulfilled me. And it had absolutely nothing to do with money and absolutely nothing to do with ego. And I started to practice gratitude. I started to practice gratitude on the most micro of levels. When, my brother would call me to say hi, I'd be grateful for that. I would go into a coffee shop and there would be like a bouquet of flowers. Beautiful. I'd be grateful for flowers. Like, I literally became hyper conscious of just saying thank you to the universe for every little thing that felt good. And then I had a couple different mentors and, people who believed in me that gave me a shot, that were able to, extend an opportunity like, hey, I need some extra help with this gig. Like, I'll pay you to help me. And that boosted my confidence. And then I got really clear on, what I wanted my business to be. And it wasn't the company that I was working in at that time. I had associated my entire identity with that. And I think that's very common for entrepreneurs to think that you are your business and your business is you, but it's really not. It's something that you created. It's separate from you. And so when I was able to really articulate that for myself, I was able to move on and leave and walk away from that company that wasn't serving me like on any level, least of all financially, and to start my own next thing on my own, like truly solo. And, given the practice and the deep work and the mentorship and just the tenacity, I guess, I was able to shift the course of my career. And yeah, it's carried me through. And I'm in a very successful place right now, but it feels different. It's not about money. It's about living what I love. And that took years to get to. That took work.
No, I love that. It's not about money. It's about living what I love. So if you wouldn't mind, just briefly give our listeners a little background of who you are today and what exactly you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called the SimplyBe Agency. We're a personal branding company. So we work with human beings versus products and businesses like traditional agencies work with. We work with humans. We mainly leaders across various industries, executives, entrepreneurs, on helping them establish thought leadership by enhancing their message, building their digital presence, helping them get seen by other audiences, and really driving their narratives in a very intentional way that garners results for them personally and professionally. And we do that in a very multitude of ways. We do a traditional agency model where we really build their brand, we build out their strategy, and we execute against that strategy. We build products. We've developed tons of digital tools that anyone can buy for like $99. You can come to our website, download a bundle of tons of incredible templates and worksheets to really do it yourself, figure out what's your brand. We host workshops. We do one-on-one consulting for our clients. And the brand has really evolved into what I like to think of more of like a lifestyle brand, where people can associate SimplyBe with something bigger than just a company. Like, it represents being authentic. It represents being enough exactly where you are. And that's valuable. And so my team, I've got an amazing team of about 7 people. We work with close to 20 clients, and we love it. It's a lot of fun. It's the best.
No, it's awesome. I think when you talk about anything you do and the word love and it's the best, I think is pretty remarkable, because most people look at it as a job as opposed to doing something they love. So I appreciate you telling us a little bit about that.
Well, one of my favorite quotes is from a woman named Gabby Bernstein. She's one of my favorite authors, and she says, "Measure your success by how much fun you're having." And if you're not having fun, what's the point? You only have this life to live. If you're not enjoying it, then you got to look at that. And when you are having fun and you're in your joy and you project that energy out into the world, that's a magnet. That becomes something that people want more of. And you start to just live and vibrate on a very different frequency than when you're not in your joy. And then your career becomes fun, because if you think about it, we spend 90% of our lives working. So why wouldn't we want that experience to be the most joyful thing we can have it be? And so that's my intention every day.
No, that's awesome. And I think the word magnet is similar to attraction. And I think one of the things you touched on before was the concept of gratitude. And one of the things we often discuss on our show is different daily or morning rituals that some of our guests swear by. So I was curious if you have either a morning or a daily ritual that you swear by to help you do all that you do.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's on a good day. Sometimes I just hit the computer or my iPhone, which is, I'm sure most people don't want to admit, but you do it. But on a perfect morning, it's a lot of quiet time. I don't even check my phone. I journal. journaling practice has been transformative. I do meditate. I do transcendental meditation. I do about 15, 20 minutes of it. I make my coffee. I kiss my dogs. I have 2 sweet little dogs that are just perfect. And like just starting my day with love and gratitude. Because when I do journal, it's like, what are you thankful for? You know, it's not just checking in and what's going on. It's really writing out, you know, what's good that's going on. And so in a perfect day, I do all of those things, and it does change your day when you're really wake up very conscious and intentional.
You know what? I love that you mentioned that, because one of the things we've talked about a lot over the past probably 4 or 5 months is how you start your day. And so many people have literally said almost word for word, how you start your day is how you win your day. And I'm glad you touched on the phone and laptop and those type of things, because for me, I'm definitely guilty of it more often than not. But I'm trying myself to make a conscious effort to not look at the phone or look at something. And a guest of mine said something very specific that I've probably repeated 15 or 20 times is, once you do that, you put yourself in a reactive stage throughout the whole day. And I think it's just interesting. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And you also talked about on a perfect morning, because I think the best part about these shows is we talk about failures, changes, struggles along the way. And I think it's awesome that you touched on the perfect day, because I myself am definitely far from perfect, but there are the days when you do control. And I think when you do control your day, your morning, you definitely have a much better opportunity to control the day as well.
Absolutely. It's getting ahead of it. Another trick of how you get ahead of it is actually turning your phone on airplane mode. So, you know, a lot of people use their phone as their alarm clock. I do. And so when I turn over to like hit snooze or just get up, I'm looking at 16 notifications, right? Everything from Instagram, Facebook, CNN, my bank, like, you know what I mean? It's like, that is all data before you even become conscious. That is not your choice. That is something that's coming at you. That's someone else's agenda. And so when you do the airplane mode thing, it actually creates space. I don't do it as often as I should. There's really no reason why I shouldn't, but it does help when you do it, for sure.
No, I like that. No one's put it that way as far as someone else's agenda. And I think you hit it on the head. Is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things are other people's agenda, and same thing with the bank, and same thing with CNN. So I'm glad you touched on that. So I wanted to ask you, if you had to define yourself in only one word, what would that word be?
Damn good question, Chris. I would say genuine. I would say genuine.
That's an awesome answer. And then on the flip side of going with your failures leading to where you are now, how do you personally define success?
I would say personally defining success is, at the end of the day, do you feel, no matter how hard you work, do you feel depleted or do you feel energized? So at the end of the day, because as a daily, your life is made up of how you live your life is how you plan your life. It's made daily micro actions every single day. And at the end of the day, I feel, even though I'm exhausted, even though I've given it my heart and soul, I feel lit up. I feel energized. Obviously, you have a bad day, it's gonna gut you, and that's okay. Be with your feelings and let yourself have a bad day. We all have many of them. But I just think it's how I feel on a daily basis. It's like my success doesn't necessarily come from the money in my account or, you know, the press hit that I got that week. You know, like, yeah, those are metrics that I think a lot of other people see. And there's no doubt that those things can be validating. But it's really about how you feel. Like at the end of the day, when you wake up in the morning to start your day, are you excited or are you dreading it? And I think that is more determining of like quote unquote success than anything.
No, that's a good definition, and that's one of my favorite questions, because I get answers just from all over the spectrum, and the best part is there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. But I love how you talked about, you know, when you go to bed, are you energized, are you depleted, and more importantly is how do you wake up for your day, and I think that's
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
great questions.
So assuming the 20-year-old version of yourself would have listened, what is the one piece of advice you would have given to the 20-year-old Jessica?
Oh my gosh. Do you, girl. It's all going to be good. Do you. You know, I spent so much of my 20s, you know, looking outside, looking from the inside out, looking for validation from the outer world, whether it was a boyfriend or a social scene or my family or whatever. And just know that everything is happening for your highest good, even when it sucks, that it is going to be okay. And the less you focus on what other people think about you, or, how people are perceiving you, or other people's, agendas and their stuff, it doesn't have anything to do with you. And if you just do you and focus on you, you will be good. And I think I figured that out. I really did, probably towards my late 20s, early 30s. But if I could go back and sit her down, I would just tell her it's all going to be okay. This is all happening for your highest good.
Indirectly, that has been what the common theme is not obviously you go girl for males when they answer it, but something along the lines of everything works out and in the end everything's going to be okay. And I think it comes down to just being younger and less mature and not from a negative perspective, just having less life experiences. So I appreciate you touching on that.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's a tricky one. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Well, everyone's like, oh God, that is so hard. Honestly, you want to know who I love so much? This is so random. And the person, I'm just going to go with my gut, what popped into my head. I would have dinner with Gwen Stefani. I think Gwen Stefani is an epic boss babe. I think she's timeless. I think she's fierce as hell. I love that she's been through her own traumas and heartbreaks, and she wears it on her sleeve. I've been following her since I was 14 when she came out with Just a Girl, and I remember feeling so empowered by that when I was young, so seen. I was like a freshman in college, and I have followed her career. She's an entrepreneur herself. She does fashion. She has her own line. She came up in a boy band. She went off on her own. She crushed it. And I follow her on Instagram. I love all of her music. And I just think she's really real. And she's glamorous. And she's fabulous. And she's cool. But you can just tell she's a cool chick and really down to earth. And I really look up to women like that who just do them. They're so fearlessly themselves and confident and aren't afraid to shine really bright, but come from love and totally build their lives on their own terms. I love women like that. And I've always wanted to meet her. So I guess Gwen Stefani.
No, it's a good answer. I thought you were going to say me, but we'll go with Gwen. That's okay.
I don't know if anyone's ever said that. I just dig her so much. I think she's super cool.
130 plus interviews, and you are the first to mention Gwen Stefani.
I'm sure I am. Just came to me.
Hey, you know what? And that's another cool question, because it tells a lot about people, and we've literally gotten answers from grandparents that parents people never knew, to famous people, that people have been dead for hundreds of years. And it's just always neat, because your answer was perfect, because your answer was somebody that you've looked up to in different ways. And you didn't talk about the money, you didn't talk about the fame, you talked about what she's done, how she does it, and the fact that she's a cool person you look up to. And I think that's a really cool part of the question, because if you're going to get a chance to have dinner with somebody, you're going to be able to talk to them and learn from them, and they're going to ask you questions. And I think that's the best part, because you would have taken whatever you got from the dinner and it would have meant something to you, as opposed to just having dinner with someone famous just because.
Yeah, or like somebody, I could have chosen like Sheryl Sandberg or someone quintessential around entrepreneurship and business. And I don't know. I think I'm just so interested in like human connections. I think you learn the most from some of the most unexpected people. And I have plenty of women in business that I call mentors and friends that I talk to on a regular basis that have really shaped me. And I don't know. I just think, getting outside of your comfort zone and being exposed to people who have totally different life experiences than you is one of the best things that you can do. It just keeps you sharp and gives you perspective. No,
it definitely keeps you sharp and gives you perspective. And I think so many people have talked about a quote, something along the lines of all the greatness or the good things or, the best things come outside of your comfort zone. So I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So if you could snap your finger and fast forward to exactly 1 year from today, what is one goal that you would have liked to have accomplished?
Well, I love to travel. I have a big travel bug. I'm on a plane as much as I can be, crossing oceans constantly. And, I travel for leisure and I also travel for work. I've been hosting some international retreats. I would love to have some clients, like true branding clients in other countries. I have done business in various continents, and I always gain so much perspective and just love the distinctions in cultures and how business is done. I did that mainly when I was working for a corporate company for a short stint, and it was great. But I would love to create that kind of international clientele under my own business, and be able to teach my workshops. So I do a ton of workshops for corporations where I go in and I will work with a company for a full day or 2 days on their executive team or their sales teams on personal branding. And I would love to be able to do that for an international client.
No, it's interesting. A lot of people don't like travel and doing things, but obviously you do. And I think it talks a lot about who you are. So it's a pretty cool goal and perspective. So we'll check in exactly 1 year from today.
Done.
So
put it out into the universe.
No, definitely put it out and it comes back to you. So I wanted to ask you if you're working on anything exciting or if there's anything exciting going on in your world that you'd like to share and tell our listeners about.
Yeah. So we just reimagined the SimplyBeAgency.com website prior to being live. This way, it was just a very bland kind of vague agency page. And the truth is a lot of our clients are executives and highly successful entrepreneurs, and they can afford, thousands of dollars a month in a retainer to come hire us as their branding company. But I really wanted to democratize what we do so that, I can help more people. Because I get a lot of inquiry, like, how can I help build my brand? And it's like, well, you can't afford to hire me at that level, but let me create something for you that's more accessible. So we created a toolkit. We've created an e-commerce platform where you can shop a couple different products that help you from learning how to pitch yourself to the media, to how to build the perfect Instagram profile, to how to build a content strategy. So that's all on our website now. We've also launched a full calendar of events. So the workshops that I do for corporations, I've opened up to the public. So we host those a couple times a quarter, and you can buy a ticket and come and learn the SimplyBe sauce in a day. Very high value, very, very worthwhile. I'm actually going to Italy in a couple weeks for a mastermind, SimplyBe Magic Mastermind, that I'm hosting with a partner from Vancouver. And we're hosting about 10 really high profile entrepreneurs through 6 days of high touch coaching on personal mindset and business and branding. So the SimplyBe brand, as I was explaining to you before, is very multifaceted. And so what I would want people to do is kind of pick your poison, come to the website. If you have $99, if you have $6,000, we can help you. We can serve you, and you can get something really valuable, obviously, and powerful working with my team, because our team is incredible, very high touch team.
No, it sounds like you clearly have a lot going on, and definitely excited about the new relaunch. And I think some of those events and that mastermind sounds really neat. So I wanted to ask you if you have any parting words you'd like to share with our listeners.
Yeah, your listeners are mainly, they're everyone from athletes to entrepreneurs, I take it.
And regular people, business people, individuals, parents, all different walks of life.
I'm thinking just, advice for them. And I think as we just being 2018, right. And we're also sucked on to social media, and we're like inundated all the time with like what we should and shouldn't do, and all of the, just information that's coming at us all the time. It's really easy to get caught up in it. It's really easy to lose your North Star and really put your worth or, intentions behind someone else's agenda, kind of back to what we were talking about earlier. And I think that really what it comes down to is the handful of people that you're closest with, the top 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people that really, really know you. And if you're good with those people, that's all that matters. Then you can handle anything that life throws your way. You can sustain, and you can be resilient if you have that support system, because no one is an island. But you don't need 20,000 friends and followers to feel, validated. I think really just knowing who you are is determined by the people who know you the best. And so just make sure you keep your inner circle super tight, no matter what you do, and they will help you weather any storm. But you got to have those relationships strong.
No, I that's some great advice, and I couldn't agree more. And it's something we often talk about the concept of making sure you have the right people on your bus and in your corner. So I appreciate you sharing that. So last question for any of our listeners that would like to either connect with you. You obviously mentioned your website, but if you could share your website again, and also if you have any social media platforms, people can follow you as well.
Yeah, I'm just Jessica Zweig, at Jessica Zweig on everything, basically. I'm Jessica Zweig on Instagram. I'm Jessica_Zweig on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. You can go to SimplyBeAgency.com. You can actually go to jessicazweig.com too. I have my own platform. I blog and post a ton of content there. And so the best way to find me these days is usually on Instagram.
No, that's awesome. Well, listen, Jessica, I truly appreciate not only your time, but some of the great stuff you shared with us. And I would highly recommend that our listeners check you out and follow you, and definitely check out the new relaunch. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I so appreciate your time. You're amazing. I'm totally honored to have been a part of this.
Thank you for listening to episode number 116. Jessica shared a very personal story of how she needed to borrow money from her father at one point just to pay her cell phone bill. Instead of giving up or giving in, she switched her mindset to one of gratitude, and she got to work. When we discussed her definition of success, she said something that really hit me. She said, "At the end of the day, do you feel depleted or energized?" Her favorite quote was awesome. "Measure your success by how much fun you are having." Like many of our other guests have, Jessica shared and references the importance of getting out of your comfort zone. In her parting words, Jessica mentioned something that I often think about. She stated, with social media continually coming at us from all different angles, she suggested that we focus on those 3 to 5 most important people in our lives, and we make sure that we are good with them. The last thing she said was that we don't need 20,000 followers, but make sure that we keep our inner circle strong. So my question to you is just that. Are you more concerned with your number of followers, or are you more satisfied with those real friends and your real relationships? In today's day and age of nonstop technology and continually changing social media, what's more important to you, those followers or your real friends? I challenge you today to go against the grain and bring it back old school. Make a phone call, send an email, or better yet, write a handwritten note just because. Invite a friend or family member out for dinner or drinks and genuinely connect. I'm not saying to delete your social media accounts, but I am suggesting that you focus on relationships more, followers less, and go for your greatness. And lastly, to our listeners, thank you. We truly appreciate your time, and we hope our episodes inspire you to keep on attacking life and never giving up. To quote Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, "It's always too early to quit."